Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Where are the fucking latecomers? Huh? Let them in as we go. Let's fill up these seats. Very nice to see you all. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I get a real chance tonight to sort of do something I've never had a chance to do, which is to actually pretend like I have a talk show. So, as you know, no, this is going to be great because Lionel did the Carson show many, many years. So, tonight, who knows who will show up to ask questions to Lionel. But listen, as these people get seated, I just want to say one thing, all right? We all know this. This is true. If you listen really, really quietly, you can hear it. The beat. All around us, all the time. There are songs that we have grown up with, songs that we have gotten married with, songs that we have gotten divorced from, songs of Lionel Richie's that have been with us for a long time. So I want just tonight to start a little bit slightly unusually so that he feels welcome. Let's just start tonight with everyone. Say you, say me, say it for always. That's the way it should be. Come on, let me hear you now. Say you, say me, say it together naturally. Welcome, Lionel Richie, ladies and gentlemen.
That was good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm kind of happy to be here for the fact that I've been interviewed a lot of times, but never by a great group of guys. So tonight I'm a little intrigued as to how this is going to end up as a session between two people when it could be several.
It's crazy, Lionel. Now, Lionel, the MusiCares Person of the Year, obviously this gala on Saturday raises a tremendous amount of money and that sustains the MusiCares Foundation. Yeah. And so let's start with why we're all here and what will be happening on Saturday evening. It's a great honor for you. Why is giving back to the music community important to you?
Well, first of all, I mean, famous is just God's way of saying, okay, I'm going to make you famous so there's something else I want you to do. You have to understand that. And so, in this case, what happens about MusiCares is that my dreams came true. We made it. The Commodores, we made it. Every song practically was a hit record. And there are people, men and women in this business, who start out and say, you know, I want to be famous. And it crashes somewhere along the line, whether it's drugs or whether it's alcohol, whether it's financial problems, whether mental or physical disabilities, it goes wrong. And so, you know, my heart is so attached to the fact that for all of the good that has happened to me, I just think that MusiCares has its finger right on the pulse when you say, what do you want to do for those that didn't make it? I want to help them stand up straight and still enjoy their craft, still enjoy the love of what they do, but I want them to be here and be healthy. And so this means a lot to me.
Well, that's great. Now, the honor that you're getting on Saturday evening has been given to the likes of Bob Dylan, Aretha Franklin, Paul McCartney, Sting, Bono. How does it feel to be, amongst that kind of company?
I was a little paranoid at first.
No, we weren't talking about your personal life.
No, I understand. I was a little paranoid because when someone says, we want to honor you for your lifetime achievement, yeah. In the music business, that means goodbye. Something, obviously, I didn't get the memo, but the rumor is that Lionel's not doing well. And then I realized, no, this is really going to be MusiCares, and you start looking at those names.
Yeah.
And I must tell you, Kevin, that for a kid that grew up in Tuskegee, Alabama, and doing a great imitation of every artist in the world in the shower, to be standing and looking at that board, that roster of names, I am so proud. I really am so proud to be able to just enjoy this moment where I feel like I've actually achieved something.
Well, not to make you feel like anyone's blowing smoke up your ass, but there is no doubt no one's saying goodbye. Lionel Richie is going to be saying hello for a very, very long time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about songwriting. Do you remember who were those songwriters you were imitating in the shower?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's go back to the early years. I mean, there's Otis Redding and there's Sam Cooke. And even though Sam was really not the writer's writer, but then as you start coming up, you start thinking about Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Paul McCartney, Billy Joel, Lennon and McCartney. Just when I tell you, there are only 12 notes. I know there are only 12 notes, and if you can just look out and say, I found one song. But those were the guys, they just had the Rubik's Cube down pat when it came down to how do you make a song. And those are the ones that had their finger on the pulse, man.
Now, your grandmother,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about her, and she also played piano.
Yes.
So did she teach you how to play piano?
She tried desperately to teach me how to play piano. I didn't know it at the time. I was labeled by my teachers at school as hyperactive.
Yeah, I was in that class too.
You understand me? Yeah. Today we call it ADD, ADHD, and I don't care. But I just, for the life of me, that's what it looked like to me. And she tried desperately, but I didn't realize that I could watch her hands. And when she said, all right, now I'm leaving the room, you come back in, and I want you to play it for me. Well, she would come back in, and I would play it perfectly.
And that was by ear?
By ear only.
And she didn't like that?
Well, I was faking it for a long time, until one day she came in, and I played the song from beginning to end. I was so proud of myself, and she said, you're not reading. And I said, yes, I am. She says, you're not reading. I said, why do you think I'm not reading? She said, because I didn't turn the page. And so that was when I decided at that point, well, no, that's when she decided that she's just not going to do it. This is a lady who was a concert pianist, till 103.
Wow.
And she had the dexterity of life. She could read. Oh my gosh, she played Bach till it just fell off on the floor. And I was just miserable because I just couldn't play it. But I found out after I got to Motown that no one else could read at Motown. And I did some interviewing with some of the, there's Marvin. And I said, Marvin, what conservatory did you graduate from? He said, what is that, son? what is that, little brother?
Yeah.
And Smokey. And then I had a chance to meet Sir Paul, and you started meeting some of these. Now Elton and Billy are absolute wizards.
Yeah, but Sinatra couldn't read music.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he couldn't read music.
Well, I'll give you another one.
Who?
Pavarotti could not read music.
Holy moly.
I didn't know that until I wrote a song for Luciano Pavarotti, and he sat there and he told me the greatest story. He said he's got all the three tenors on stage, and there's 1, 2, 3 books, and they're all sitting there, and everyone else has it all written. He has nothing in the page. And he's flipping the page, and they're flipping the page. Nothing. No, so I just figured I was in good company, so I just said, I'll just go down that road. And once I found out that no one else could do this, but they could write songs, it was over.
So when did you, thank you, that's Pavarotti's fans. When did you discover that you had a knack for songwriting? And when did you, if you can remember, what was the first song you wrote?
Yeah, I do remember that. Well, I'm the kid. I was the kid that, you know this person very well in your class, was sitting there and Mr. Richie, Mr. Richie, would you like to join the rest of the class? I was writing a song then. I just didn't know that I was listening to the other side. It wasn't until I actually, now, in academic Tuskegee, Alabama, on the university campus, that's called Some Crazy Kid. In Hollywood, California, at Motown Studios, that's called a creative guy, person. And so with me, I didn't really realize that I could write a song until after I'd gotten to the Commodores. It was that, because I didn't have any examples. In my grandmother's world, in my uncle's world, you had to, there's a logical reason why you know how to write music.
Well, let's go back before you got to Hollywood soundstage. I want to go back to Tuskegee because growing up there, what was it like? What are memories that you think of tonight as you think back on it?
My norm, I didn't realize was such an abnormality. I was born and raised on Tuskegee University campus. My grandmother and grandfather took court on the university campus. Booker T. Washington, the founder of the university, had to allow them to see each other in his home because faculty and students couldn't date openly.
It's still that way, by the way.
By the way, still. That's right. Well, from that point on, that was hilarious. But I'll play that one back for a while.
Yeah.
Well, who was on this campus? There's the Tuskegee Airmen. There's George Washington Carver. Let's just take those two right there, those two groups. The Tuskegee Airmen, they were commissioned to be, their entire headquarters was on the university campus. The air base was on the campus. Mrs. Roosevelt came there to see them if they could fly and took her up flying in a plane. Well, I didn't realize that those guys were famous. And they were my classmates' dads. And we had Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Air Explorer Scouts. So every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we went flying. And every other black guy had a plane. We couldn't vote, but we had an airplane. And so it was very interesting that the standards for us was that we were born and raised on a military air base, basically. And academia was just a part of the curriculum, if you want to say it like that. But it was an unusual thing because segregation was in full swing. And so there was no place for doctors, lawyers, PhDs, biomedical nuclear engineers.
Am I right that to some degree, your parents protected you
Shelter.
from really knowing what was happening in terms of racism in the United States, and particularly in your own area? Now if I'm not incorrect, your father took you when you were 9 years old to Montgomery. And will you tell everyone about that story and what happened and what it meant to you?
It's a very good story. I remember this clearly. My father and I were in Montgomery, Alabama, and we were walking down the street, and I ran over to the water fountain. And I hopped up and I drank out of the water fountain, not realizing that it said white, and the colored one was over here. And I finished, and these three guys were talking to my father, saying absolutely the worst things I could ever say. And I kept thinking, my dad's gonna kick your ass, man. I can't believe it. And I remember looking back, and my dad said, come on, son. And I am now 19 years old, going to college. And I am now a part of every movement that could ever be a movement. And I remember saying to my father, I can't believe it, man. I can't believe you copped out. I said, right now you are a tool of the man. You know, I'm fully in my militant state. And I said, in fact, that day we were in Montgomery, Alabama, why did you kick their ass, Dad? Why did you kick their ass? You let them talk to you like that. He said, I had a choice that day, son, of whether to be a man or be your father. He said, I thought I'd be your father.
Because you knew they'd kill him.
They'd kill him. And so it was very clear to me at that time that he had to sacrifice a lot of his manhood. He could not get a loan from the bank unless he was co-signed by my mom and my grandmother. Can you imagine coming home from World War II and...
Because he served.
A commissioned officer. And I don't care whether you're a colonel, a major, a general, you could not get a loan without your wife or some older woman co-signing for you.
He also fought for this country.
Yes, he did.
And fought for our freedom.
Yes, he did.
But he wasn't free when he came home.
He was not free when he came home. And I remember many, many times the Tuskegee Airmen. We didn't know how famous they were. Had no idea how famous they were. Except when we would go down to Maxwell Air Force Base, every white cadet, every white soldier down there would snap to attention, carry them right to a plane, give them a plane, and we fly off it. Now, fully loaded airplane, but yet they couldn't vote. And as soon as they stepped off that air base, they went back to the reality of black America. And so it was one of those things where it took me quite a while to come to grips with, I don't know whether everybody remembers the television show 20th Century with Walter Cronkite. Yeah. I can't imagine watching 20th Century with Walter Cronkite and hear reel after reel, white man after white man, rolling up on the beaches of Normandy and everything, and nothing about them. They were highly decorated, but they were made a secret. And of course, it was just, they spent the rest of their lives trying to be recognized.
Well, luckily, we've had a play and a film about their extraordinary contribution.
Exactly right.
Now, while you were at Tuskegee Institute, you enrolled, I believe, in a talent contest that you say was a life-changing event. What was that? And tell us how life-changing it was.
I don't know. I don't even know how that even happened. I brought my saxophone to Tuskegee University to, I didn't want to tell anybody, but I brought it to learn how to play. But I could play by ear. So literally, I am playing you put John Coltrane on, and you play a little John Coltrane. You put a little Sonny Stitt on, and you play along with Sonny Stitt. Yeah. Not realizing that that's just not normal, but that's how I was learning how to play saxophone.
That's how I learned how to act. I think you watch Henry Fonda, and you do a little Henry Fonda. You watch Spencer Tracy, you do a little Spencer Tracy, until you fucking figure it out for yourself.
There you go. That's what happened. There you go. Well, that's what happened.
Right.
And so Thomas McClure came over to me, the guitar player for the Commodores at the time, and said, is that your horn? I said, yeah. He said, you want to join a band? He didn't ask me, could I play it? He said, you want to join the band? And I said, absolutely. He said, what's it for? He said, we're going to have a freshman talent show on next Friday, because the story was, now we didn't know this, the bill to us was that there's going to be a freshman talent show, put your band together, you can be on the show. What we didn't know for the rest of the upperclassmen, it was called, come to the talent show to laugh at the freshmen. It was the Gong Show, basically, right?
Right.
All right, so we went there and we played, and oh my God, one of the most amazing things ever happened to me. Girls started screaming. Now, I'm going to tell you this story. This is probably not in your notes. I went to Tuskegee, and I figured at some point, do I want to be a fighter pilot? No. Do I want to be a doctor? No. Do I want to be a lawyer? No. I think I'm going to be an Episcopal priest. True story. I was going to go 2 years of Tuskegee, and then from there, I was going to Wyoming Seminary, and I was going to be a priest. Well, that girl screamed on the front row. And I remember calling Bishop Murray back and said, I don't think I'm priest material.
You came to Jesus in a whole nother way.
Right away.
Now, it's true that you then joined the Commodores, and you then ultimately decided to leave university. Am I right? You were studying economics?
Economics major, accounting minor. By the way,
You don't write. Are you good at it?
what?
Economics.
No, let me tell you about my accounting stuff. Forget the economics.
Okay.
Economics, I was brilliant. I could do. I bedazzled myself in economics. Yes, but accounting, I had a basic problem. In the great words of Dr. Ward, my accounting instructor, he said, Lionel, he said, the problem with you is you didn't steal the money, you lost the money. He said, you can't get the comma and you don't understand the calculations. Well, I decided to solve that problem. So I brought my Commodore computer, a calculator. Now, the thing is about the size of this desk right here, but it's that big. Now, he said I was cheating. And I said, no, this is not cheating. This is the future. This is the way of the future. You're going to need one of these. He says, no, we're not interested in what the machine can do. We're interested in what you can do. And he threw me out of class. And I remember walking out the door and I said, I'm ahead of my time. You're gonna regret this.
Yeah.
And of course, 4 years later, the university asked me to donate to help the school stay alive.
Nice. Now, you decided to leave university to join the Commodores full time, and your father wanted to kill you.
Well, did you hear that story too?
Yeah.
That's how I got it.
Yeah.
I went to my father, and I'm in my senior year, first semester, senior year, and we were the opening act for the Jackson 5, and it was clear at that point that we were flying back in our junior year. We were flying back and forth to do exams. Makeup exams. Now, if you know anything about makeup exams, there's no way to cheat in a makeup exam. You really had to know your stuff.
Yeah.
Because cheating was very much a part of my curriculum, where you have to make. But I could not figure out how to get the cheating thing, so I had to actually study. Now, I would fly off back to Tuskegee, take the exam. The problem we had was that it didn't work out for us. And I realized that it's time now to make a break. So I went to my father and I said, Dad, we're the Black Beatles, and we're going to take over the world, and I am quitting school. And I'm going to tell you, it's half the stuff I can't tell you what my father said to me, but the other half I can tell you. He said, you have 2 or more kids for the idiot factor. We have now identified the idiot. Now, he clearly said that to me. Then he threatened my life several times. And then I told him, I said, you wait, you watch and see, okay? And then I went on the campus to Dean Carter. Dean Carter sat down with me, and he said, for real, come on, let's be honest. How much money are you making? Because I wanted to tell him that I'm getting C's and B's on makeup exams when it should be an A. Listen, I want to make sure. And he said, let's get serious, Lionel. College is a place to develop a scheme to make money if you don't have a scheme to make money. If you have a scheme to make money, then get the hell out of here.
Get the hell out of here.
So he said, really, how much money are you making? Now get this number. In 1971, Commodores were making $200,000 apiece, right? Now, but that wasn't impressing my father one bit, because he didn't see any of it. It wasn't until we had our first hit record, and the royalty checks were coming to the house.
That's right, and they came to the other members of the Commodores.
You heard this?
And you couldn't find your check.
I couldn't find my check. Now, I couldn't find my check, and I kept asking.
And by the way, how much? These checks were considerable amount of money.
No. This was the first big million.
Million.
Yeah. This was the first big $1,200,000 in Tuskegee, Alabama. I just want you to understand this. Now, I went to my mom and dad and I said, Mom, Dad, have you seen my check? No, son, I haven't seen it. Mom said, no, I haven't seen it. Okay. And so I checked with Clyde, the drummer. I got mine. And so whack, I got mine. Ronald, I have mine. Mom, Dad, you see my check? No, son, I haven't seen his check. I haven't seen his check. Well, now, my mother goes down to the bank, as she does every Thursday. And Mr. Parker, the president of the bank, met my mother at the front door. Mrs. Richie, right this way. Richie. And my mother said to Mr. Parker, did we miss a payment? Is something wrong? And he said, no, you're one of our preferred customers. Right this way, Mrs. Richie. And Mrs. Richie, Mrs. Papers, in my office, please. And what she found out when she got in the door was that my dad, Lionel Richie.
Because you're Lionel Richie.
I'm Lionel Richie Jr.
Yeah.
And all mail that has ever come to my house since the day I was born, all came to him. That's Lionel Richie. He received this check and he deposited it in the bank. and it took me, now get this, I want you to hear my father's explanation.
Yeah.
He said, isn't this the parents' portion? So it took my mother 4 days to talk him into give the boy back his money. So I had to negotiate with my father. Okay, I'll cut you a piece out of the money just to get him. Man, that was a true story. Man.
That's a story. Huh. Now the Commodores, when you were based in funk, R&B, soul, right?
Okay.
But over time, you started to add a distinct touch of romance to those songs. Okay. Easy Still, Three Times a Lady. What motivated that? How did that evolve musically for you?
I think probably, if I look back on my life, I was a hopeless romantic. In other words, my rap was terrible. Thank God for the Commodores, because it saved my rap completely. I went from...
You mean you had no pickup lines? Oh, God, we're going to get one.
Wow, she's beautiful. Or, get this line. Hello, is it me you're looking for?
Well, that one eventually worked.
It worked finally, but let me tell you, the problem was, did I have enough guts to walk over and say, yo, what's up? Come on, babe. It's me, Lionel, man. Come on, sit down. Let me talk to you for a minute.
Yeah.
No. That never came out of my mouth. But the greatest thing that ever happened in the world was a hit record happened. A hit record, 2 hit records, 3 hit records. Still, 3 Times a Lady. Now, wait a minute. Now, I'll show up in, what was the opening line? I didn't have an opening line. She had an opening line. I love you.
I want to talk a little bit about some of those songs.
I love you.
Will you tell? Thank you. I love you right back.
I know you do.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the songs and what inspired you to write them. You wrote, am I correct, 3 Times a Lady for 3 different women in your life?
No, that's not what happened.
No. It's about your grandmother.
No, but
To some degree.
It was actually my mom. My father, who is absolutely the Romeo, a legend in his own mind, now he was the true, And so he sat there when we had never heard my father talk about my mother. He decided to stand up and make a toast to my mother, and he said, here's to Alberta. She's a fine lady. She's a fine mother and a great friend. And I want to tell you, Alberta, I love you. Wow. Dad actually, this was public, in front of grandma. That was heavy. And I kept thinking, sounds like a record here somewhere. Now, I made the mistake of going on Johnny Carson telling that story.
I remember that night.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
I came home and I said, you know what, if it wasn't for my father, I would not have written 3 Times a Lady. I want to just... So I came home and I made the mistake of saying these words. There's no way to repay your mom and dad for all of the love and joy and respect that they've given you.
The parents' portion came back.
Right.
Did it?
So He was a hustler. And so I got home, and the first thing my dad said is, son, I heard what you said on Johnny Carson. He said, I want to let you know I'm very proud of you. He said, I heard you say the part of kid cannot ever repay his parents for all the goodness that they've done for him. He said, well, why don't you do me a favor, son? I said, what is that, Dad? He said, would you try?
Now, you did, am I correct, that Easy
Yes.
was to some degree about your father? Yes?
No.
No.
No. No, that's not right. No.
All right.
Well, I'll help you with it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Easy, like Sunday Morning, was probably I was so uptight because now we're every day. See, the only way to make money as a group is you have to stay together as a group.
Right.
And someone brought 366 pages of where we were going to be for the next year. Every day. Remember now, the only way to make money is you have to, Christmas meant you're really playing.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, Easter, whatever it is, whatever holidays, you're going to be on the road. So we had 365 days to go around the world. And I remember sketching on a piece of paper. Why would anybody put chains on me? I paid my dues to make it. Everybody wants me to be what they want me to be. I'm not happy when I try to fake it. Leave me alone. and then I was playing it, and then I realized, okay, leave me alone is obviously not a hook.
Yeah.
Well, at least it was, for Michael Jackson it was, but not for me. And so I wrote easy. I want to be easy like a Sunday morning. And Easy Like Sunday Morning is about, that's actually the song, if I had to think of all the songs that I've written that kind of sums up how I feel after doing a world tour, or after dealing with my kids, or after dealing with everything, that's still my national anthem as far as how I feel.
And do you remember when you decided that it was time for you to go solo? Not an easy decision, obviously.
No, Kevin, that was probably the hardest thing that I've ever gone through, because the Commodores, to everyone else, was a band. To me, the Commodores were, and I say this very honestly, thank God for the Commodores, because without the Commodores, I would not be me. Because what happens with a band, I was the shyest kid ever. When the curtains opened, I'd go off with the curtains. This is my first band. I was never in a band before. Thomas McClure had been in 3 bands. Everybody else had been in a band. I'm the shower singer. I don't know anything about it. So my heart was beating. And so these guys would always go, Lionel, Rich, come on, Rich, go over and kiss the girl, Rich. And I'd go, I'm singing, kiss the girl, Lionel, kiss the girl. So finally I'd kiss the girl. Well, the people would scream. And now they spent the rest of their career going, Lionel, stop kissing the girl and sing the song. Well, all of that came from the Commodores. You know, I learned a lot about myself only because I had 5 other brothers. So all of a sudden, I found myself now, I did a song for Kenny Rogers. I did a song, Endless Love, with Diana Ross. And it was not supposed to be going solo. It was just another avenue to write some more songs. Well, these songs were huge. And then finally, Motown came to me, and the executive said, would you like to do a solo album? They didn't say go solo. They just said do a solo album. Well, this is what was happening. And now, instead of having a group interview, the press would go, Lionel, tell us how you started the Commodores.
All right.
Okay. Now tell me, or the interview at the Capitol Center in Washington, D.C. Finally, Lionel Richie sat down to the piano and started playing his songs.
Yeah.
What's a guy like Lionel Richie doing in a funk band like the Commodores? Now try to go back to a rehearsal after that.
Right.
Okay. So it was one of those things where I'm now trying to do the impossible, which I'm trying to do 5 nights in a row, which is impossible to the vocals. It becomes tough. And so finally, I thought I would take a break. It was not supposed to be, we are going to break up. It's just, oh, we'll take a break. Let's just have a cooling off period. Well, during that cooling off period, I had Truly, And they asked me to go right back in and do the next album. All Night Long, Stuck on You, Hello. Forget about it. It was, the rocket had taken off, and it was one of those things where it was very, very difficult to step out there, but it was happening.
You've mentioned one of the great songs, All Night Long. Can I just ask you, there's a series of lyrics in that song. Oh, jambalaya, tamboli, dise de moya, ye, jumbo, jumbo. I would love for you to tell us what that means.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I needed some words to describe infectious partying. So I called my friend, Dr. Lloyd Gregg from Jamaica, and I said, Doc, when Bob Marley, wabo, yeah, my, whoa, what's he saying? Absolutely nothing, man. I said, that means absolutely nothing. Okay. So now I called the UN, and just to show you how stupid I was, I called and I said to the guy, I'm looking for some African. I love this dumbass. And he said, Lionel, there are 101 African dialects. I said, you mean one tribe does not know what the other tribe is saying? He says, that is correct. Thank you, sir. Click. Tambulite said the moya. Ye jumbo jumbo. Where to pate, oh, we going. Oh, jambalaya. Now, here's what makes it so funny. To this day, I still have people walking up to me going, Lionel, it's amazing how you tied in Swahili with mambo jumbo, jambo. And they're now telling me what it says. Yeah. I didn't want to tell them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Without question, everyone in this room remembers We Are the World. An extraordinary song musically, obviously, in terms of its reach and what it meant. Can you just talk about the inspiration for that, how it came about, how it happened?
Yeah, it's very good. It was, if there was not enough going on at the time, Harold Belafonte called me one Sunday or Saturday afternoon and said, Lionel, I'm calling you because we have a lot of white folks saving black folks, but we don't have a lot of black folks saving black folks. What are we going to do about that? And I said, Harry, I'm on. Because if you know anything about Harold Belafonte, he's in every tribe. He's on the ground in many, many parts of Africa. And so I called Quincy that night. Quincy and I have a little gossip session every 2 or 3 days. And so in my gossiping session, I said, Harold Belafonte called on the phone and said that we should do something. So he said, well, let's who are you going to? I said, I'm calling Stevie. He said, well, I'm sitting here with Michael. He puts Michael on, and, you know, Michael, Lionel, what are we going to do? Don't let that brother fool you. That brother, okay, he's serious now. That brother's so serious. So we end up, Ken Cragen, my manager at the time, finds out that we're talking. And I'm hosting the American Music Awards that year, on top of touring. And Cragen said, well, let's just do a song. Now, we're writing this song thinking it's just going to be Stevie, Michael, Quincy, and myself. Cragen, we don't know. See, one great thing about having a manager, you hire a manager because he can't keep a secret. That's a great manager. And so I thought it was just going to be 4 of us. Cragen is on the phone going, Lionel, Quincy, Michael, they're in the studio. They're writing a song, right? And this song came about, and Cragen has 40-some-odd artists waiting for us. And I'm hosting the American Music Awards with a script like that. And Michael's at the house introducing me to his snake. No, No, that came out wrong. Can we start over?
We can
Strike that from the record,
Yeah,
okay? He was introducing me
if music cares at all.
Yeah, that was wrong. But yes, well, he has a bird. No, he has a. That doesn't sound right either.
No, that doesn't.
No. He has a dog named Ricky and a minor bird. And the minor bird can speak. So you hear these words. Shut up! Shut up! That's the dog and the bird having a fight.
Yeah.
This is the house where we wrote, and we're trying to write a song downstairs. Now, I am trying to concentrate. We go upstairs to write the lyrics to the song. I see out of the corner of my eye the album's falling over. I'm on the floor. Da 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 da, da 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 da. What's that? Album's falling over. I look over. There is a albino python.
Uh-huh.
Now, I will admit, I was screaming like a white woman. See, there's a joke. There's a joke with Richard Pryor. Black women don't scream; they just kick your ass. The white women scream. So I was screaming, running around the room, and he'd go, "Oh my God, Lionel, there he is. He wants to play with you. Come and play with him." What are you talking about? So, I know you all were looking for this spiritual story about We Are the World, but this is what I had to overcome to bring this song to life.
I am now imagining that maybe the first pass of this song was, "We are the world." Shut up! We are the people. Shut up!
This went on for 3 days, and so it's the process of how we got there. The beautiful part about this was we did not know, had no idea that when we recorded this song, that it was, that night at the American Music Awards, I was hosting the show, walked away with 6 awards, left there at 12 o'clock at night, from 1 to 7 in the morning, recorded We Are the World. Went home, so everyone explained it to me, "Oh my God, congratulations, you won." I didn't remember doing the American Music Awards. Wow. That's how spiritual that was. It was like another planet to have all of us in that room with an absolute mission of saving lives. And it was without the phone, so we could actually keep a secret. And so no one knew about this for 2 or 3 more weeks later before we put the song out. But when the song finally came out, Michael called me on the phone, Lionel. He says, "Go over and look, turn on the television." And there's London, Tokyo, LA, New York, the whole planet simultaneously was singing We Are the World. And it was probably one of the greatest. Now, all this, by the way, will be in my book called There I Was.
Now, I think people might be fascinated by the idea that you call yourself a basic musician. You know, in the sense that, you know, you've talked about how you can sit down at a piano.
Yeah.
Just explain that process and why you look at yourself in that way. Because, of course, you do a concert and everybody thinks, "Oh, so great, he's doing that."
Well, you know, I think part of the whole thing is that I have in my mind's eye my grandmother. Now, I don't know what I'm playing, but I know what it looks like. And so, if you ask me to play it in a different key, we have a problem. If you ask me to change it up for a minute or add a little bit more to it, we have a problem. I did a show one night, and with just me on the stage with a piano, and a kid came over to me after the thing was over and said, "Oh my God, you played that piano just like the record." I said, "I played on the record, and that's all I can play." But you have to understand, I mean, for me, it is the, I don't think it's a handicap now to not be able to read or write, because Quincy came to me one day and he said, "You can read." After I did 3 Times Lady, and then of course I did Pavarotti's song, you know, the Magic of Love. And he came to me and he said, "You can read, you're just not telling me." I said, "No, I can't read." He said, "Listen." I said, "Why do you say that?" He said, you're breaking rules. You know, no one would make a transition like that unless they knew a lot of music. He said, "You went into 2 keys and back to the original key and threaded it with a melody. That's totally sophisticated. You have to know what you're doing." And I said, "Then I am counting on ignorance to continue my life story."
Because you've been playing, you've said this before, you can sit down and play the same C chord that you played your whole life, but you hear something new, something. How does that, for you, how does that process work?
Yeah, there are only 12 notes. There's only 12 notes. And I have, get this now, I have done talks at music schools around the world and around the country. And I have the shortest class. You know, wanted to say, "Lionel, can you do it for 2 weeks or be a guest instructor for?" And I said, no, my course only takes, if this is a course in songwriting, it's only going to take about 20 minutes. And he says, "Oh, well, please, would you teach the class?" I said, "Yes, it's very simple. Here's the course. Now, for all of you that only hear me tapping on this chair, you are not a songwriter. For all of you who can hear a melody, you hear the words, you're a songwriter. Class over."
Nice. Now, with all of the experience you've had in performing and performing live, you recently played a concert at a festival that was unlike, I think, anything you've ever experienced, which was Glastonbury. Will you tell us what that was like after all these years? What did it feel like? So many people showed up.
Yeah, no, it was probably one of the greatest surprises in a very long time. We played Glastonbury in, Glastonbury.
Hey, Glastonbury.
Yes, I bring my Alabama accent. We played Glastonbury. It was Glastonbury. And 175 to almost 200,000 people showed up. And it was supposed to be in the afternoon. It was called the Legends portion of the show. And Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers and all these people had played it before. And I was, of course, going to play that section. Well, we broke the record for Glastonbury. Now, on that front row, there are 12-year-olds with Lionel Richie written on their faces. "Hello, is it me you're looking for?" Right? And
we've got a few people in the back who have that as well.
And the security guards came out, and I thought they were there to secure the stage. They started dancing. And there's a nude doll of Lionel Richie being passed around on top of the heads of people.
I'm sorry, a nude doll?
a nude doll. I have pictures to prove it.
Well, I'm not just sure people would like to get it if it was at Walmart. They might like to go out and...
If I knew I could sell that and get away with it, I would. But I am telling you, the fascination was this. I started singing the songs. The crowd took over. I started singing more songs. They got louder. And then it became apparent that this was karaoke at its finest. I mean, I am telling you, it was, and by the way, it was being televised. So there's 200,000 people there, plus the entire Europe. And then, of course, Australia was calling. And I had the best time on stage probably ever. That was just, it was amazing.
And how does that make you feel, the fact that, you know, been at this a long time?
Yeah.
And yet you have so much energy, so much, you know, you've got, so obviously you're going to do more albums and more concerts and stuff, but to know that your music has reached, touched, influenced generations right up to those 12-year-olds and their grandparents, how does that make you feel? How do you?
Well, it's funny. That's probably that's a hard question to answer, because for me, you know, I think the two things, well, the one thing that neither one of us are lost, when we say, well, I'm lost for words. Well, I'm actually lost for words in this case, because I'm a kid that had a dream of wanting to have my music played around the world. And it happened. That's one thing. And then my generation passed it on to the next generation. And then that generation passed it on to the next generation, to where, you know, my concerts, they're getting younger and younger and younger. And I'm thinking to myself, but at the same time, there's the grandmother, there's the grandfather, there's the father, there's the mother, there's the sister, there's the whole family sitting there. And it is quite overwhelming sometimes to imagine that something that started out as a song in Tuskegee, Alabama, has now reached the entire world. And by the way, you know, what is that great line I hear every day, every night? I thought it was a novelty just to hear the girls say it to me, but now I'm walking down the street and the worst day of my life. My father is dying in the hospital. I'm going through a divorce. I'm going in to have throat surgery. And they say, "Love you, Lionel." That's the worst day of my life. And so, you know, I've been very blessed. And I must tell you that, you know, someone asked me the other day, if you had to come back as someone else in your next life, who would you come back as? I said, hell, Lionel Richie. Who the hell is What the hell do you think? Of course. I don't want to mess with somebody else.
Now, we'll open it up to questions in just a sec, but I just want to ask a little bit about your family. You are a grandfather.
Yes.
But that is not a title you have accepted.
Well, I struggled with it. Yes, I did. Yes. You know, Nicole and Joel came to me and they said, Dad, we're going to have a baby. And you're going to make a great granddad.
Yeah.
There was nothing really sexy about granddad. I knew what granddads looked like, grandfather. And it didn't, you know.
Because you still got women in the front row going, hello, is it me you're looking for?
Listen, you understand me.
Right?
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, come on.
Yeah.
Right? And they were for, oh my God, these kids, they're going to come out and they're going to call me granddad. That's not what I had in mind. My afro, it's not working. And so I decided that maybe I'll just kind of lay back for a minute and see how this works out. And so I thought of titles to give my grandkids before they got here. Call me G-Pa. Yo, G-Pa. That sounded street.
It actually sounds like a Star Wars character.
Yeah, but and so the final final day came when they can now speak. And they're going to tell me who I am. Because remember now, you can't rehearse them. They're going to tell you who they are.
That's right.
And their name they gave me was Pop Pop.
Yeah. Pop Pop.
I'm Pop Pop.
Nice.
And I said, nice, that's nice. Pop Pop, and I could deal with that. So Pop Pop is
why don't we open it up and see if anyone has any questions for Pop Pop?
There you go.
I believe they have microphones out there. They may have people already picked out, but speak into the microphone.
Oh.
Introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like.
Hi, my name is Kia, and I wanted to know what we would probably be most surprised to learn about your current taste in music. In this audience.
Today, my current taste
Your
of music.
current taste in music.
Wow, good. Ooh, that's good. You know, it's interesting. The old sound is the new sound. When you speak of The Weeknd, the old sound is the new sound. Now, if you weren't back at the old sound, then it's the new sound. Adele. The old sound is the new sound. Now, for all of us that were back there, we go, oh yeah, that's that old sound. Bruno Mars is brilliant as a songwriter. The old sound is the new sound. So I think we're enjoying now just a resurgence of country music is now 80s. Everything in production that was in the 80s is now called country music. Because you don't get, you're cheating, horror. That's not happening anymore. That's not country. I went to Nashville to cut, funny story, it's true. I went to Nashville and they said the greatest musicians in the world are in Nashville, Tennessee, and you will have the best time playing with them for this record. And I went to Nashville. I walked in the studio for the first day to record. And there in the room were the greatest musicians in the world. The same musicians who played on Penny Lover, All Night Long, Stuck on You. They moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
So the old sound is the new sound, and so it's kind of like, if you stay in the business long enough, it's a circle. So now we're back up to where we are now.
Who has the microphone next? There you go.
All right.
Hello, the name is Rodney Friend, and I ran into you the other day at the store, and I was bringing my daughter to this event, and
yes,
we
I
ran into each other in a home decor. And how's your home decor? She told me that you had a company, and I should shop at your place instead of the one we met.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Thank you for the advertisement. I like that.
Let's talk about the Lionel Richie collection.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, it's funny. My hobby, I mean, literally, no one knows that. My hobby is that when we're in any country, I'm in the antique stores. I'm buying art and antiques. And I'm trying to figure out, wow, this is a great pattern. I'll use this pattern, and what about these plates, and what about these things? And I'm the guy who will bring home globulars of stuff that I don't need. And so finally, I think it was brought to me one day that there's a company, don't you want to have a company that, well, this is a company that does all of the furnishings for the Ritz, the Peninsula. And I said, I like that, so I can kind of play. Well, my accountant was so happy to hear that I'm not spending money on my house anymore, that I can actually sell something.
Right.
So I got involved in the home line, and I'm having the greatest time in the world. I'd like to brag a little bit. Martha Stewart came to my dinner and endorsed my line.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you very much.
And you have, right, there's several sections of it. There's different.
Yes, they're very good. They're very good. Thank you, Kevin. I like that. Yes, we have the loft section, which is studio is all barware, spas, restaurants. It's all barware. And then the loft section will be the funny stuff, the fun stuff you would want in your house, like hello, is it tea you're looking for? Hello, is it me you're cooking for? And so all of these things are going to be in the store. So it's the Lionel Richie Hello Home Line store. And I must admit, who also gave me a bit of an idea into his world was that Kevin announced that he also has a little desire to be. That's very nice. I like that one. You said you design, and I like your designs, by the way. That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. You also, am I right? You also are a little bit of a crazy gardener. You drive around. Is this right? You drive around Beverly Hills, and you look at other people's gardens, and you rate them. But you also occasionally, is this true? You occasionally decide that something needs trimming.
Ooh.
That isn't actually your house.
You know, Kevin, I believe that adopting one's neighborhood is also just as important as adopting one's yard. And so, you know how many times you drive down the street and there's a stop sign and it says ST. Well, wait a minute. What's this? And then you watch, it becomes S. So, what I do is I leave the studio at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I drive home. And I realize that I'm called to service. So I carry my clippers in the car with me. And now it's STOP.
That's right.
You see, and I make that.
That's right.
Yes, thank you.
Beverly Hills thanks you. A few more?
Thanks to you.
A few more questions, yes?
Thanks, Eric.
Over there, yes?
I've got a question here.
Yes?
Lionel, who would you say 4 or 5 of the musical geniuses in your era would be?
Wow, oh my God. Well, I came into a fraternity and sorority of people that were so out of their minds that the whole school, the whole university, Motown University, if you got into Motown University, you just qualified. Marvin Gaye, Martian. Stevie Wonder, Martian. Smokey Robinson, Martian. Bob Dylan, Martian. I mean, Holland Dozier and Holland. When I got into the business, the charts looked like the Bee Gees, Sly and the Family Stone. I mean, Al Green. See, we've changed the equation now in the music business. When I started out, it was creative artist, which means they would ask you the question during a Q&A like this. They would say, what were your reasons for writing that song? Or what were your reasons for writing this album? And you tell your reason. Now the equation has changed. The equation is now they have created artist. So when you ask the question, why did you do that song? And they say, somebody gave it to me. Or how did you make it? I passed the audition. So back then, every one of those songs were created by the geniuses of themselves. So you had to fight Michael Jackson. I mean, listen. I mean, come on. You know, we can say whatever we want to say. You know, I can nitpick everything apart, but pound for pound, I saw Michael hum that album. I didn't say he played it. He hummed it. Come on. I mean, so to me, if you want to name off, I was so influenced by the era. It was just so many masterful people.
I want you to end tonight by telling us a story. I believe you were at Madison Square Garden, and I believe that you were invited downstairs below Madison Square Garden, where Bob Marley was preparing for the show. And I want you to tell us what of that you remember.
So bad. Well, I don't remember much. But that I do remember, I will tell you.
Yes, please.
Yes. The Commodores, this is the Commodores at Madison Square Gardens with their opening act, Bob Marley, for 4 nights. And we had known Bob from Jamaica, but I'd never been on stage. And of course, he invited us down to, it wasn't downstairs, it was just down the hall from his dressing room. And he said, I want to invite everyone to come down to the Holy Man. To my room, we're going to celebrate and pray and celebrate the herb of ganja. And I said, oh, man, okay. I told the guys, I said, I really don't want to go. No, man, we got to come, man. You got to come down. All we love is love, one love. And so, I go down the hall, and Mick Jagger's down there, and we're all. So, I'm from Alabama, you see? And when you roll a joint in Alabama, it looks like a pencil. Or smaller.
Right.
Bob brought in a brown bag. A brown shopping bag. And I thought, oh, well, he's going to roll a joint out of that bag. No. Bob rolls the bag. No. And then they got some fishing wire. And the fishing wire went around the bag. And then the other brother came in the room, the dreadlock, I guess this is the warlord. The man never said much, but
He was the manager.
He was the manager.
Yeah,
and he sprinkles the water on the thing. This is the golden water. I don't know what this was. And he's saying, hold on. And then they did something I've never seen ever happen before. They say they lit the joint. I said they started burning the bag. The bag is on fire. And he passes the burning bag around. And I said, no, I'm okay. But I should have known something was wrong because I couldn't see Mick anymore. He was in that cloud of smoke. And a couple of the Commodores disappeared. And then, and I said I was there 5 minutes to be cordial. And of course, Bob was praying the whole time. And I heard, Bob, it's time for you to go on. So I said, oh, man, okay. So I'm going back down to the dressing room, and I'll see you later. Bob, good show. Now, when you walk out of the door, to the right, 2 doors down, is the Commodore dressing room. Right here is a curtain where you can walk out into the Madison Square Gardens. I walk out of the door, and the next thing I know, I am standing in the middle of Madison Square Gardens by the soundboard with the crowd going, Commodore! Because I'm in my outfit. Whereby somebody grabbed me by the arm and took me back to the room. Now, here's my only regret. Bob Marley played 4 nights at Madison Square Gardens. I don't remember. I don't remember him playing at Madison Square Gardens. I don't remember seeing him or me. I'm in a picture. I'm in a picture with him. That's when I realized that what we were smoking in Alabama was Lipton tea. That was the real shit.
Well,
and so
I'm pretty sure I can speak for everybody tonight in saying that we are very glad you were smoking Lipton tea all these years.
All these years.
Lionel Richie, thank you very much.
Thank you.